What's good, everybody? It's your boy Tico on Blitz, back at it with another video. Welcome, guys, officially to World of Tanks Blitz. I am very excited to want to post my first gameplay video featuring this guy right here, the Carro 45t. This is the Tier 10 Italian collector medium that is capable of holding a 4-shell auto-reloading clip, having an average damage of 380 per shot. If we make our way over to the stats of the vehicle, you could see that pretty good armor-piercing damage output of 252 millimeters of standard penetration, with APCR having upwards of 326, pretty good for a medium, and a high explosive of only 66. Is what you typically expect for high explosive because it's splash damage. It's only effective when you find the right spot to hit tanks, and that's when you would do the most massive damage. And as you can see, the average damage, like I mentioned before, 380 on the standard ammo, with the premium upwards of 330, and the high explosive upwards of 500. Maneuverability-wise, the tank is actually pretty solid, having a top speed of 53 kilometers per hour with a reverse of 21, having a power to weight of 18.7, and a whole turn rate of 57.16 with a turret rate of 42.52. You can also see that the tank carries 9 degrees of gun depression, which means that you'll be able to poke over solid ridge lines effectively to increase the amount of millimeters on your turret armor. And to get kind of a visual on what the Carro 45t's armor profile looks like, this is pretty much what you would expect against another medium. This is a Kampfpanzer 50t that is up against it, not running its calibrated shells with increased armor penetration. This is just what the tank looks like on flat ground. You can see that the whole upper turret is pretty much going to be an auto penetration. It's only 197 millimeters thick. However, you have a very troll gun mantlet right here that has upwards of 497 millimeters thick, which means usually when you're trying to hit something on the move, especially with a tank like this, good luck. It's going to be a slight percent chance that you're going to hit the flipping gun mantlet. Like, it's crazy, man. The upper plate of this tank is also extremely solid. It's upwards of 600 millimeters thick. Any shell is going to auto ricochet off that upper plate. It is a massive troll. You do have a very lower plate, which is really the only weak spot, along with the turret cheeks, only 80 millimeters thick. And here is what the tank looks like fully hull down using its 9 degrees of gun depression. As you can see, it totally makes a change for the turret thickness. Now having upwards, if I load heat for example, you could see that it's upwards of 306 millimeters thick, or 304 on the other side as well. It doesn't really matter. It's upwards of 300 regardless, which means a lot of medium tanks are going to struggle to cut through this turret. You do have a very small hatch on the top left side of the tank, which is pretty much going to be an impossible hit, considering the fact that gun depression is so that you can hide the hatches without having to get hit by them so much. Here's the side of the tank. It's pretty much going to be what you typically expect for the side of a vehicle. It's only 70 millimeters thick. When you get to the engine deck, it makes it only 43 millimeters thick. Side of the turret, pretty much going to be the same as the side of the tank. It's pretty bad. And here's the back of the tank. Extremely mediocre. When I load high explosive, which has some of the highest damage output when you hit tanks in the right spot, you can see that this white is specifically for that purpose. Because the spot in white indicates for high explosive shells, they'll have the highest damage output. You could see damage 300 to 500. That means that if the tank hits in the white area, it's going to splash for about the maximum amount of damage output that it can get at about 500 damage, which is crazy. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Tico, why does it have a mechanic called a reserve shell right here? That's because you could see that the shell carries a 4-clip auto reload, which means that if you fire, let's say 2 shots, you'll be reloading one of your shells to make it 3 shots, and so forth. If I were to dump out my 4th shell, say 1, 2, 3, and 4, the reserve shell is the shell with the longest reload time. And it's called a reserve shell because it's only to be used for safekeeping for when you're out of a dire situation. So for example, if there's only one tank left on the enemy team, sure, I could fire a reserve shell. That overall depends as well if you have teammates supporting you that are trying to kill the last tank alive. An example not to use the reserve shell though, if I'm in a tricky situation, probably up against one or two tanks, and I dump that reserve shell, it's pretty much game over for me. Plus, you're taking away the damage per minute output on this tank, which is probably why this tank only has 1,859 damage per minute, because when you dump that reserve shell, it's going to take away all the damage factors that come into play with this tank. So that's pretty much all to uncover with the Carro. Now let's see if we can get into some gameplay and see how she performs. Here we are in game number 1. Now the first thing I like to do before I start a new game is examine the lineup that they have, especially medium-wise, or if the same class of tank that's on the other team as well. I can already see that they have another medium, and that is a WZ-121. Now I know that the WZ has a better damage output than this tank, but because I'm an auto-reloader, I'm able to trade shells with him, meaning I can deal more damage than he can. So, as you can see, we are making our way over towards the left side, also known as medium side, because I want to go to the far left side and use the 9 degrees of gun depression that this tank has. So I want to see, before I start poking out, if they have any tanks that are in the back of the map. Usually a lot of tanks would be coming over to this side, but upon the Fox understanding, since she's just going to go wandering in, I don't see any of the tanks. So we're going to continue moving forward here. I'm going to use my engine boost. Oh, I am so sorry about that. Apparently I'm still working on improving my internet speed. I know a lot of the times you guys are going to see me running into walls and such. It's not that much of a hassle. But anyways, we can see the majority of their enemy team is over towards this side. Now, the Fok does get a shot into the 183 over here. We can see the 60 TP over off to the side, but we are not able to get a shot out. My damage is going down. There's the 60 once again. We're going to get a nice shot into him. There's the Grill who's trying to run like an idiot. We can also see that the AMX M4 MLE54 is low health. He got bonked on. Let's aim at another shell right there. Beautiful. And then we're going to try to fire. No, we're not able to get that shell out. So, ooh, he actually decides to hit me. Okay, I see how it is. But now we can see the WZ-121, and my Fok is getting absolutely crapped on. So, I'm going to make my way on top of that. I tried to go for the hatch on him, but that's okay, though. We can see the Grill trying to move on up. We're going to get a nice HE into him for 441, and we're just going to back up. We're going to aim in on the WZ-121, get a nice shot for 353, and I don't want to get spotted by that 60. And, okay, that's actually not too bad. Now we've brought these guys down to literally smithereens of their health. Now we're going to try to see, can I still see that WZ-121? Let's see if he's going to poke again. He does finish our Foch, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean that it's going to make much of a difference for our guys. So now he's going to poke his turret out. Once again, we are not able to get a shell into him at the moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go in and kill him. He's really low health right here, and I have enough shells in my clip to finish him off. There we go. Get a clear into the WZ-121, bringing us upwards of 2,000 damage. I want to see if I can clear this 183 too, because he is going to be kind of a threat towards my teammates if he ends up getting that deadly shell of his out of there. So let's aim on him. We finish him off. And now we're going to make our way over to this side. There's the Grill right here. We're just going to go ahead and get a nice HE into the back of him. And waiting again and finish him off. Now, you can see that I am on my reserve shell, and that means I don't want to waste the clip yet, so I'm just going to sit back here and wait for one more shell to reload. That's good, and we're going to make our way over here. We're actually doing pretty well. We actually managed to come back in this game, surprisingly enough. Oh, and now it's a 3-on-3, I could see. And now we have a 57 heavy who I don't really have that much of a height advantage to get that shot out. But I want to go over here and see if I could spot. There's the 60. There's a 57 heavy. We are able to get a nice 330 shot into him. I want to see if I can hit that 60 TP now. Aiming in on him. Nice. Bit of a low roll, but that's okay. At least we still get the shot out. Now, the 60 is going to try to make his way down towards the ground. I don't know if he's going to be poking out much further. There's the E100 right there. Not able to get a shot into him. I just want to continue to back up because I don't want that E100 to take a majority of my health away. So we're going to get a nice shot into him for 329. Continue to back up. See if I can get another shell into his turret. Unfortunate. We did get a bounce, however, because the tank, like I said before, when hold down is a very hard penetration. So, I want to see if I can farm this E100 as much as possible. But, ooh, there's the 60. Can we hit his hatch? We can! 339 damage. He does end up hitting us because he's running tungsten shells, which means that you get a much higher damage output. Good thing our 183 finished off that 57 heavy because he was going to be a major threat to us. So I want to see if I can get another shell into the E100. He pens us again. We're probably going to die, but it might be the chance to show you guys that I am going to dump that reserve shell right here. Unfortunately, I don't know why that shell didn't pen, and unfortunately, we die. We did actually really good in this game. We did upwards of 3,000 damage, which is actually really solid, especially for a medium tank like this. Ooh, 5,200 actually. I actually did not know that. Well, that just goes to show that the Carro 45t, when used to your advantage, is a very deadly tank. It was just unfortunate that our team couldn't pull it off in the end. But of course, I can't end the gameplay on a negative note. I want to end here on a win. So as you can see, we are on Middleburg. They have a T-54, pretty much all they would have, and a Sheridan for maneuverability tanks. So we're going to make our way over to this side on the hill right here. I want to find a good place where I can use my gun depression to make it very hard for tanks to pen my turret. So I want to go this way over here. It looks like the two enemies are ended up coming this way. Sorry about the tongue twister. So I want to see if I can get a quick slap into him. That's a great shot for 398. And we're going to aim it again. Unfortunately, that shell goes a little high and right. So we're reloading the clip. I'm just going to stay right here. Just use my solid gun depression right here. They only have 3 tanks up here. Oh, I could see the WT off in the back. There we go. 501. That's a pretty solid roll on that tank right there. So we're going to go again. 459. And let's see. Oh, and he is going to run away. We took that guy's health down to nothing. And he gets finished off. So, I want to be careful. There's that 4005 right there, who we're able to get a 414 HE into. The 54 is right there. He tries to get a shot into me, but misses. I'm not really going to be focused on him. I don't care if he gets a shot into me. The bigger threat is this 4005 right here. There we go. We got a nice shot into him. And he is finished off. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any more damage into him. Good thing there was a clear. So, now the 54 is just over here solo. So we're going to get a nice shot into him for 356. And you know what? I'm just going to go right at him. I don't really care. Honestly, I have the hit points, everything. He does finish off one of my other tanks. So I'm going to make my way over here. Get a nice shot into him for 392. He misses his shot. And we're going to finish him right off. Nice. So that brings us upwards of, I think, 3,000 damage, which goes to show the damage output, again, of the Carro 45t. So, this is also a very good scenario to use when you have no tanks on you and you're trying to clear the rest of the tanks like this. That would showcase that you would have enough time to have the maneuverability and reload your clip. So, who would I want to finish off first? We are up on base cap because this is supremacy mode. So here's the IS-7. We're going to get a nice shot for 311. Go aiming right down and finish him off. Nice. Now this is the opportunity for me to use my reserve shell mechanic. Get a nice shot into the VK. Wait for this guy to hit a shot, something like that. Now I just want to wait 2 more seconds. Don't want to use the reserve shell just that. There we go. And now we want to dump that reserve shell right about now. Hopefully this patent clears him. Please, bro. Please clear him. Thank you. There we go. And that's how it's done with the reserve shell mechanic, fellas. You just wait a couple seconds before the enemy is down to a point of health to where you think that you can finish them off with your last 2 shells, and dump the reserve shell only when necessary. We were able to pull a first class on that one, dealing an approximate amount of 4,824 damage, and yeah, that's basically all to uncover for the Carro. My intrusive thoughts on the Carro 45-ton only have to be upon 3 reasons. One of them, you have solid maneuverability. If you end up clearing medium side, go ahead and focus on the heavies. You'll have plenty of time to reload your clip. Second off, use your gun depression when necessary. You have 9 degrees, and you have solid turret armor, which will get the occasional bounce here and there. And number 3, only dump the reserve shell when necessary. You saw in that last battle right there that I was waiting for my next shell to reload because I knew I wasn't going to have the exact damage output to finish off that VK. So I waited an extra couple seconds for 2 shells to be loaded into the clip, and there you go. That is pretty much how to play the Carro 45-ton, guys. Hopefully you guys did end up enjoying today's video. And if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.